Hello and welcome everyone to the November SBIF rollout. We will be getting started in just a few moments. Thank you so much for joining. For everybody here today, if you have questions during the presentation, please feel free to put them in the Q&A box below. Additionally, everyone here today will receive a follow-up email with a copy of the presentation. Stand by, please. We'll be getting started in just a moment. All right, everyone, welcome. Again, my name is Kim Brisky. I am with Summer Corps. We are the administrators of the SBIF program on behalf of the Department of Planning and Development. This is the November 2022 SBIF district rollout. We're excited to have you here today. We're going to just a reminder, any questions you have during the presentation, feel free to put them in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. Additionally, everybody here will be receiving a follow-up email with a copy of the presentation. And now to get us started today, I'd like to turn it over to Nora Curry with the Department of Planning and Development.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us. As Kim said, we are excited to have you here with us. As Kim said, again, my name is Nora Curry. I'm the director of the SBIF program for the Department of Planning and Development, and Summer Corps is our program administrator, and will handle most of the talking today, as well as most of the almost all the interaction that you'll have with the program moving forward. As I think most of you know, SBIF provides grants to small businesses to make permanent building improvements. It's offered to both tenants and owners of industrial and commercial buildings, and it's funded by tax increment financing revenues in designated districts citywide. The program's been around for more than 20 years, and we have served 95 TIF districts, provided over $100 million to over 1,400 businesses, new and expanding and existing all over the city. We have a lot of experience helping small businesses, and we're really happy to work with you moving forward from here. We have just gone through some changes over the last year and a half, and they're really exciting and positive. We are in the middle of a 3-year funding plan where we at first received about $63 million to fund 60 TIFs, and it was so successful that we just got replenished for an additional $46 million to keep funding those TIFs. We had such a good reception that we needed even more money to make sure that we could fund everybody who applied for the program. So we moved in for that, and that part of that success was this additional marketing that we're doing here, marketing and education, bigger grants, additional assistance, and opening it up to more businesses and more property owners to apply. So to get into the details of that, I'm going to hand it over to, it looks like, LaTanya to do our presentation today. And please ask your questions in the Q&A, and I really encourage you to continue to ask questions. The advice that I always want to offer to people is, you are very busy as business people and as property owners every day. You're not probably experts in construction. And so, but the people you'll be working with at Summer Corps have a lot of experience in that. Please take advantage of them. And if you should run into any roadblocks or any delays, always ask the question. We are here to help you, and we want to help you. So if ever you have a question, if you're worried that you're not going to move forward, or if you just don't understand something, always ask the question. That's what we're here for. And with that, I will hand it over to LaTanya. Thank you.
Thank you, Nora. My name is LaTanya Jones. I am the Deputy Program Director of the Small Business Improvement Fund Grant Program. I work for Summer Corps, which is a certified small business lender. We administer 504 loans, as well as the City of Chicago's SBIF program and the Neighborhood Opportunity Fund. Today, we'll be discussing the eligibility requirements of the program and what you can expect going through the process. Here is the overview of what we will be discussing today during the presentation. We will explain what the program is about, how you can determine if your property or business is located in a SBIF district, which districts are open and on deck, the program rules, how you can go about applying, what does the program timeline look like, what resources are available to help you, provide you with information on the November rollout with an example project, along with covering the frequently asked questions, and then we will conclude with additional Q&As. So since 1999, the Small Business Improvement Fund has helped small businesses and landlords with reimbursable grants to assist with permanent building improvements. Please note that residential projects are not eligible through this program. The SBIF grant uses tax increment financing revenue to reimburse grantees for the pre-approved repair or rehab of their business facilities or adjacent land acquisition. Please note that this is the grant that does not cover capital, working capital, or operating expenses. It is specifically for structural related improvements. Summer Court is the program administrator that is contracted by the city's Planning and Development Department. Thank you again for joining us today. Let's get started with today's presentation. So grant parameters. Eligible applicants must have property located within the TIF district where SBIF funds are available and the district is authorized to accept the applications. Eligible applicants can include landlords of commercial or industrial properties, commercial or industrial businesses, business owners who own or lease the places of business, tenants, but they must have prior written approval from their property owner. Startups are eligible as well, but must provide a business plan and a Chicago business license will be required prior to final disbursement. Eligibility limits. Depending on where you fall as an applicant, will determine the eligible limits that you will fall within. For a commercial tenant or owner-occupied applicant, the average gross sales per year must be less than 9 million. For a landlord of a commercial or industrial property, the net worth must be less than 9 million, and this is referring to cumulative amongst all owners of the property. And each individual must fall under the 500,000 liquidity asset maximum. If one individual exceeds the 500,000 liquidity requirement, your application will not be eligible for the program. For an industrial tenant or owner-occupied applicant, you have to have at least, you can have no more than 200 full-time employees. Please note that if you own the property and the business, you are subject to both tenant and landlord requirements. The maximum grant amount allowed under SBIF are as follows: $250,000 per industrial property, $500,000 per single owner or tenant of a single property or landlord, and $250,000 for a multi-tenant property, with the understanding that each tenant and landlord is eligible to receive a maximum of $75,000. Please note that applicants may receive one or more grants up to the maximum program assistance. Once the maximum is reached, the applicant will need to wait the 3-year waiting period before reapplying. Percent of eligible project costs can be reimbursed as follows. If your business sales If your business sales or net worth falls between 0 and 3 million, you will be eligible to receive 90% reimbursement of the eligible costs. If it falls between 3 and 6 million, you will be eligible to receive 60% reimbursement. If it falls between 6 and 9 million, you'll be eligible to receive 30% reimbursement. And for all industrial projects, you are eligible to receive 50% reimbursement of the eligible costs. To better understand the calculation of this program, here is a SBIF calculation example. Grace submits an application for a SBIF grant in an open district with a total eligible project cost of $100,000. She is proposing to make permanent building improvements to her existing retail shop for which she is the tenant. Grace has been in business for 5 years, and over the last 3 years, her gross sales averaged 1.5 million. The breakdown of the eligible cost is as follows. The total eligible cost of her project is $100,000. Since she is the commercial tenant applicant and her gross sales is under 3 million, she is eligible to receive 90% reimbursement. The city responsibility is at 90%, which totals 90,000, and the applicant responsibility is at 10%, which totals 10,000. In order to determine if your property or business is located in a SBIF district, please visit our website at summercorps.com/SBIF for assistance. And once you get to the website, you will scroll down to where you see Get Started and select number 1, which takes you to the SBIF locator tool, where you would enter the project address at the top. And once you enter the address, it will let you know if your property is eligible. It will provide you with the name of the SBIF district of where your property is located and when that district is scheduled to open for new applications. Also, it will provide you with a list of delegate agencies for your area that can assist you. Eligible SBIF districts in Chicago span neighborhoods on the north, south, and west sides. Each month marks a new 30-day period in which SBIF districts with available funds open for applications. Notice of districts opening are provided to the relevant aldermen, posted on the DPD and Summer Corps' website, and included in the monthly SBIFgram. Please visit our website at summercorps.com/SBIF to obtain the list of upcoming districts opening. By selecting number 2, as you see here, where it says check the districts that are open, and that link will take you to the list of the most up-to-date list of open and on-deck districts. Which business and organization type are ineligible to apply? This would include a list of chains and franchises, banks, pawn shops, liquor stores, places of worship, junkyards, branch banks, cigar and smoke shops, not-for-profit social clubs, and organizations that have a national affiliation or similar uses. Please note that this is not a comprehensive list, but it will give you an idea of the type of businesses that are eligible to apply. If you are unclear about your business type, please feel free to reach out to us. What type of improvements are eligible for SBIF funding. This would include roofing and facade improvements, components of signage and awnings, which are permanently affixed to the building, ADA compliant improvements, such as railing and ramps, HVAC and other mechanical systems, plumbing and electrical work, certain project-related architectural and construction management fees related to the project, certain environmental remediation measures, and permanent interior renovations, including fixtures. Oh, as well as purchase of adjacent land parcels for the purpose of expanding or parking. This is not a comprehensive list, but it will give you an idea of what improvements can be covered. If you're unsure about whether the work items for your project are eligible, please reach out to us so we can assist you. What improvement costs are ineligible for SBIF funding? This would be new construction, standalone minor repairs or cosmetic improvements, equipment-related expenses such as kitchen appliances, computers, or office furniture, planters surrounding or affixed to the building, outdoor dining or drinking areas, including roof decks, beer gardens, outdoor patios, balconies, awnings, porches or decks, fencing, privacy screens or similar structures, parking lot construction or repairs, landscaping or interior work for residential units. What are the SBIF design requirements? In order to receive funding, project must conform to design requirements, including meeting DPD's design guidelines. Projects shall also comply with the business guidelines and additional neighborhood requirements as described in guidelines, style guides, community plans, and other planning documents associated with the TIF area and neighborhood in which the property is located. Applicants are strongly advised to consult with Summer Corps and design professionals on design requirements and guidelines before drawing up plans for work. All applicants for commercial properties who are approved for a grant of $25,000 or greater shall be required to make at least one exterior improvement using at least 10% of the maximum amount of their approved grant, including but not limited to facade repairs, windows and doors, and other exterior improvements eligible subject to DPD's approval. This requirement can be waived at DPD's sole discretion if the applicant does demonstrate to DPD satisfaction that no exterior improvements are needed because improvements have been recently completed or the exterior features of the building have been well maintained and are consistent with the design guidelines. What measures are in place to ensure applicant compliance with the program rules? So checks will be performed on all applicants prior to funding to ensure that they are not indebted to the city and are current on property taxes and compliant with child support laws. Each applicant will sign an economic disclosure affidavit. Grantees will be required to sign an affidavit certifying that they will not be relocating outside of the TIF district or sell the business within a 3-year period following the disbursement of funds. In case of SBIF reimbursement for land purchase, proof of land ownership will be required prior to reimbursement, but before reimbursement can be made. How do you apply? You can download a copy of the SBIF application from our website at summercore.com/SBIF. To apply, you must complete the application and submit via email to spiff@summercore.com within the designated open period. Once you get to the website, you will click the white link here, which will take you to the PDF version of the application where you can complete the application by hand or you can type in your information. What is the program timeline? In the first stage, you will be given 20 days to provide the requested information needed to complete your application to determine eligibility. Once you are deemed eligible, you are moved into stage 2, where you will be given 120 days to provide us with the plans, bids, specification of your project, and cure of any debt. If you are aware of any city debt, please ensure that you take care of it as soon as possible. Please note that stage 1 and 2 must be completed before final review and project approval by DPD. If approved, you will receive a conditional commitment letter signaling you that you can start the construction process. Once you begin construction, you will be moved into stage 3, where you will be given 10 months to complete the project. And during this time, proof of permit or permit application will need to be submitted within 120 days following the date of the commitment letter. Also, the applicant must provide proof of sufficient funds to complete the project, which is concurrent to the 10 months and submitted within the 120 days following the date of the commitment letter as well. The applicant must prove that they currently have sufficient equity to complete the project by providing at least 50% of the funds needed to cover the total cost of the project. Once the project is completed, you will be moved into stage 4, which takes about 4 to 6 weeks from when it was sent over to the city for processing. And we will inform you of when your funds are available and provide you with closing documentation to complete. Please understand that DPD has granted an extension of time. Applicants who do not complete each stage within the required phase time limit will be disqualified. A maximum of 2 extensions may be granted with DPD's approval in the case of an unavoidable delay due to extraordinary circumstances. DPD, not Summer Corps, also may on a case-by-case basis grant a grant-eligible application an additional amount of time to complete any program requirements. In this case, DPD shall have discretion to determine the appropriate length of time of that extension. What is required to deem a project completed and receive grant funds? Once the project is completed, you will be required to provide Summer Corps with the proof of payment documentation for review, which consists of the sworn statements, invoices, copies of the canceled checks, and waiver of liens. Summer Corps will complete a final site visit to confirm that the project is completed, and you are required to submit copies of the building permits. We also make sure that you don't have any debt to the city and your property taxes are paid to date. Then that information is submitted to the city for processing, which takes 4 to 6 weeks. And the grant payment will be received by check. Please note that this project refers to non-escrow projects. What resources are available to help? You can visit our website to access resources that would help you through the grant program. You have a list of resources that include lenders who have assisted previous SBIF recipients and are familiar with the program. There are contractors, technical assistant providers, and small business resources that can also be used as a tool to help as well. Please get to know your delegate agencies. These organizations are assigned to help small business owners in the SBIF districts opening this month. You may be familiar with these organizations. If not, please reach out to them and introduce yourself and let them know your plans with the SBIF program so that they can assist you accordingly. Here are a few more organizations listed. Please be advised that this presentation will be emailed to those who attended today. For the November open SBIF districts, we are accepting applications until November 30th at 5 p.m. That is the cutoff time. The districts that are open for new applications, are 35th and Halsted, 35th and Wallace, Central West, Lawrence and Pulaski. Please be advised that applications for these areas will not be accepted after 5 p.m. on November 30th. When you send us an application via email, please allow 2 business days for Summer Corps to confirm receipt of your application. If you do not receive an email confirmation within the time frame, please send a follow-up message or call us at 312-360-3300. Also, applicants are responsible for making sure submissions are received within the open acceptance period. Here's a sample project that was completed by La Mom's Kitchen, located at 3312 South Halsted Street in the 35th and Halsted TIF district. As you can see from the before pictures, the space was empty and they did a complete build out of the space for a restaurant. Their project consisted of storefront improvements, ADA accessible ramp at the front entrance, new support column for the basement, I-beam for kitchen area, electrical work, plumbing work, HVAC, framing, drywall, interior doors, painting, and new flooring. What documents should I have on hand to submit along with my SBIF application? Here are a list of documents that we will request from you in order to complete your application. Please note that these documents are not required to submit with your initial application form. We just want to give you an idea of the required documents we will request from you pending the type of applicant you are. So that would consist of tax returns for the business, proof of ownership, copy of an executed lease, copy of tenants' leases, business plan, and 3-year projections of income and expenses, along with other SBIF required documents. What are the financial requirements to participate in the SBIF program? The SBIF program is a reimbursable grant, so project participants should be prepared with financing to support the permanent building improvements. Proof of financing is not required until stage 3, but applicants are encouraged to contact their business lender or reach out to one of the lenders listed on the Summer Corps website in a timely manner. Grantees may receive their grant funds through an escrow account. DPD, in its sole discretion, may authorize up to 3 draws of funding from the escrow account to reimburse an applicant as work is completed on a project. Any fees associated with the use of an escrow account will be taken out of the grant amount. Are startups or new businesses eligible? Yes, most startups are eligible to apply. Startup applicants will need to supply a detailed business plan and projections of the business's income and expenses for the first 36 months of operation as part of their application documents. The City of Chicago reserves the right to impose additional conditions for funding in connection with startup business applications. If you have only been in business for 1 to 2 years, Summer Corps will require tax returns and a projection of gross sales to equal 3 years of data. Please note that bars, taverns, hotels, and motel applicants must have held their applicable license and been in business for at least 1 calendar year. Am I eligible if I live outside of Chicago? The important consideration is where you have your business and property. To participate in SBIF, your property must be located in the City of Chicago, as funding sources come from the City of Chicago property taxes. If you live in another area, if your business is in another area, please call your city planning, economic, or community development department to see what other programs may be available to assist small businesses. What if my business has both businesses and residential spaces? With SBIF being a primary grant for business use, the program is primarily for business use, but there are mixed use exceptions. For businesses, many envelope projects such as roofing, facade improvements, and tuck pointing are eligible work items. Will there be enough SBIF funds for all applications? Each tax increment financing district has the SBIF program authorized in it, has limited funds reserved for the program. If demand for the SBIF funds is greater than the available funding supply, then a lottery will be conducted to determine the order in which each application may be accommodated. If any surplus funds become available, we will be allotting to waitlisted applicants. Applications for a property located in an Invest Southwest corridor shall be given priority for funding and the lottery. Applicants for a property located in a target corridor shall be given second in priority for funding and the lottery. The remaining applicants shall be provided funding if available and placed on the wait list if applicable. After applicants in the Invest Southwest corridor and the target corridors. If SBIF funding is there SBIF funding available in my district? Every SBIF area has its own budget that the city refills if it has TIF funds available, and there is a demonstrated need for more grant money. Email the Summer Corps team at SBIF@summercorps.com to see if there are funds in your SBIF. We also maintain an interested party list for funds, which you can also send an email in order to join. When more funding becomes available or the city allots more funds, we will let you know. The interested party list helps the City of Chicago gauge demand for additional funding. What if I'm in a TIF and it is not in a SBIF? The tax increment financing is the mechanism that funds the SBIF program. If you are in a TIF that does not have a SBIF, please contact your local alderman. Here is the contact information for the SBIF department and program director at the Department of Planning and Development, Nora Curry. I would like to thank everyone for attending, and for those joining the webinar today, we will send out a link of today's presentation. Now we will proceed with the Q&A session.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Latanya. And so for anybody who has a question they want answered, please feel free. You can still time to put it in the Q&A box on your screen. And we're going to get started, Latanya, with the question that I always think is helpful to ask, which is, what are the most common roadblocks that you see for applicants for the SBIF program?
Common roadblocks that I've noticed would be securing financing, as well as trying to find a suitable contractor for their work.
And so your recommendation, if these are generally roadblocks, to make sure we're getting started early on those two items?
That is correct. And also making sure that you are aware of like your deadlines that's coming up. And if you have any questions or not certain about certain information that we need from you, it's always helpful to reach out to us so that we can assist you accordingly.
Great, thanks so much. One question that we had was from someone, if they are a tenant, do they need to submit written landlord approval with the initial application, or when is that needed?
We do not require landlord approval during the application phase, but it will be something that we will require from you once we start processing your application into the stage 1 phase. So it's not important now, but I think it is good to have that discussion with your landlord to make sure that you would be eligible that they would allow you to do those improvements to that property.
Another question, just to be clear here, what if you just recently completed work for your business? Can you actually retroactively try to seek reimbursement for that?
No, the SBIF grant cannot cover any work that has already been completed. You actually would have to go through the process and get approved for the work before you can start, in order for you to be able to get reimbursed after the project is completed.
So to be clear, any work completed before you actually receive your official approval will not be able to be reimbursed.
That is correct.
Okay, great. Another question. Let's see, that was just that question. Let's see. We are a corporation with about 50 owners of a building that seriously needs a lot of work. Could we apply to do work on the building?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that again?
So they have a corporation that's basically the owners of the building, ownership of the building, they have 50. So
Okay,
the question
gotcha.
is, if they wanted to do work, would they still be eligible to apply?
They're still eligible to apply, depending on the ownership of those 50 individuals that have ownership in the business, will determine if we need requested documents from them. They have to have at least 7.5% in the business or property in order for us to request that information, but they are eligible to apply.
Right. So yes, they're eligible, but be prepared for paperwork, and everybody has to be on board and eligible and meet all of the guidelines.
That is correct.
Okay, got it. Can you talk a little bit about when you're doing your initial application and talking about the quotes and your expected costs? How targeted, how accurate do they need to be? Do you want to lowball them? Do you think you want to put a little extra cushion in there? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So in order to ensure that you have at least a good cushion for when you actually are moving through the construction planning phase of obtaining your quotes, well, I guess I should say in regards to writing that on the application, right, Kim?
Yeah, when you're submitting the application and you're estimating how much the cost of work is going to be, should you kind of, how accurate do you need to be? How much cushion do you need to be giving yourself?
Okay, so it doesn't need to be accurate, but it's always good to kind of overestimate so that it would at least be closer to your estimated costs when you actually do provide us with the estimate. So I'm not sure if anybody would be obtaining estimates. You're not required to in order to fill out the application, but at least just have a good ballpark of how much the scope of work will cost so that you can include that information on your application.
Great. I think a lot of us are familiar with the various grant programs that are offered by the city of Chicago, but another one that most people know about is the Neighborhood Opportunity Fund, or NOF. Can the SBIF program be used in conjunction with NOF?
Unfortunately, it cannot. If there's ever a situation where you apply to both and get accepted for both programs, you would have to decide on which program is suitable to your needs. But you would not be able to use both for the same project.
Great. I'm going to take the slide back here in the beginning about the eligibility with the for your reimbursement levels. I think the question was just wanting to clarify it for net worth. Is there a $3 gross sales limit or net worth of owner? I think the question was just if you are a tenant, it's the 3 million in sales, or if you are the landlord, it is the net worth. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, that's what I wanted to be clarified on. Another question that we have here is just the use of funds. I know we talked a little bit about how it's really for the permanent building improvements, but can you dig a little bit deeper into the actual acquisition side of it, when in fact SBIF funds can actually be used for acquisition of land or a building, or how does that actually work with SBIF?
So how it works with SBIF, you currently have to own the business and the property adjacent to the land that you're looking. I guess the best way to explain it. So if you are a business owner and you also own the property and you're looking to acquire the building next door, I think I'm answering it while I'm explaining it. Yeah. Sorry. So if you're looking to acquire property, you have to own the building that your business is occupying currently. And you can, that would be the only way that you would be able to acquire the adjacent building or land for the purpose of expanding the business or using it for parking.
So it's not like anybody could use SBIF and say, I want to go buy this building for my business. No, this is about if you are currently already the property, land, building owner next door and looking to expand.
That is correct. So it would not work if someone is a tenant and looking to purchase the property that their business is at. It only refers to if they're currently owning the property. It doesn't work for landlords either. So it would only be a business owner who owns the property and looking to purchase the next door land or building.
Right. So you have to actually own the property that you're in and be seeking to purchase the property next to you. If you do have more questions about building acquisition or land acquisition, feel free to send us a note afterwards, because if the SBIF program isn't eligible for you, we do also offer the SBA 504 loan, which is really all about commercial real estate purchases. So I encourage you to follow up with us there. I do want to just dig back right into the financing questions again. Can you confirm if applicants must obtain financing and at what stage before they actually are able to complete their project?
Okay, so financing, when we require proof of financing, that does not take place until after your project has been approved for you to start the work. During that time, you would need to provide us either it would be at least 50% of the project costs. Either it's in a bank account, a lending approval letter, or a credit card availability.
The key just is to know that it's a reimbursable grant, so be prepared for having capital, and that also understanding that it's a 50%, and that we want to make sure that you have the resources you need, so that we do have those on our website. I think somebody asked, as a startup business, if they don't have taxes or income to show, what kind of things would you have to prepare with in regards to their 3 years to be able to show the projected value as a business?
Sure. So as a startup business, we ask that you provide us with a detailed business plan and then also provide the projected income for the next 3 years. And that would suffice for that requirement of the 3 year of tax returns.
Great. So I think the last thing, just continuing with the financing, I think that, let's say that, you have financing, and so you won't be able to get financing for the entire project, but you can get financing for a chunk of it, and you can do the project in phases. So about how long, once you finish maybe one phase of your project, until you get the money reimbursed?
So once you finish a portion of your project or completed your project, it takes about 4 to 6 weeks for processing from the time that we send it to the city before you receive your reimbursement check.
Great. Let me see if we have any new ones here. Okay, I think I just see sort of a back and forth with somebody, so I don't think that is going to be a new question. So I think at this point, we'll end the webinar. We really do appreciate everybody who came on today, and thanks LaTanya, and behind the scenes Anastasia, who's with our team answering these questions, which is great. So just as a reminder, this district is now open. These districts are open accepting applications through November 30th. Anybody who attended the call today will receive a copy of this presentation. You can also go to DPD's YouTube channel to watch the entire video if you'd like to see it again. And as Nora said, here's all of our contact information. Please be sure to reach out if you have questions. And we're really excited to see your applications and support these small businesses. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day.